just a second to actually log in here, maybe another minute or so. We've got people still coming in and jumping on the screen here fairly quickly. So we'll give them just a few more minutes or a minute just to get back in here, and then we're going to get started. I'm also going to actually go over and I'm going to actually go through some of the homework that we had from last week, because I thought it was pretty interesting when I actually went through that. So I'm going to go through that as well. And hopefully we'll be able to, let's see if I can get you to see my screen while we do this. All right, looks like we got one person. If everybody can kind of make sure that you've got yourself muted on there, we can open it up when we have ask questions, those kind of things. To have a couple more people jumping in, so I want to make sure that we've got plenty of time for that. Make sure everybody gets a chance to see what and go through this. I know a lot of people actually was turning in homework today, it looked like, so that's pretty awesome. I'm glad everybody's still doing their homework and getting that in. I love that. Make sure my phone turned off. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Looks like we got, several people that have jumped in on here, and what I'd like to do is actually just kind of start off and kind of go through the homework of kind of what you've actually been doing over the last, say almost now 2 weeks as we've been going through this class called Managing the MREA Office. And today we're actually going to cover chapter 6 as we go through this. Yeah, just to kind of give everybody an idea. So right now, it looks like that, on a scale of 1 to 10 with how well we're tracking our inventories, and again, there's no judgment around this. 8 people felt like they were, 8 people or 22% of the people felt like they were not managing their inventories very well. And we had a total of 2.8% of the people that actually felt like they were managing their inventories very, very well. And so, that's a pretty eye-opening statement for me as a mega agent, and hopefully for you as a admin of a mega agent team, or even a mega agent yourself if you're on this calls as well. 27% of the people actually felt like they were doing a kind of thing, And so when you look at this and you start going through these numbers, 13% thought that they were about, 13% of the people thought that they were, doing okay, yet still, just over half. And then you can see just kind of going through these, what everybody thought and how they thought. So, in bold, as a bold coach, we actually tell you, don't compare your insides to other people's outsides. And I think this is a pretty good clue right here. We look around the country and we see some of these teams that are operating at a high level, and we have some of them in here, and we go, oh, we don't have it together like they do. And I think this is a pretty good statement right here that, we're all in a thing of chaos. We're all in that series of chaos, and we're all looking to get better and all looking to do more. And there's always room for improvement. Yet here's the thing. Remember, it's always progress over perfection. Progress over perfection. What's the largest inventory challenge that you're having to track? So you can kind of go through here. It looks like signs, open houses. We had 7 people that said signs. 2 people said open house signs. Again, yard signs, mostly commercial signs. Down here, signs, sign writers, signs, lot boxes, signs, open house signs, printer ink. Oh, thank God for Amazon Prime, because, you let it run and you let it go and you let it go, and then you got to print something and you just need, only thing that'll print is black because it's the biggest cartridge on there. And so now you got to print something, you got to have it in color, and it won't even print. So Amazon Prime, thank God for that, getting it here the next day. I'm jealous of some of you that may be in markets where you can actually get it delivered the same day on Amazon Prime. Again, signs, key boxes, So, looks like we've got a lot of work to do on how to manage signs and those kind of things. Now, this next question, and when we look at this next question, it was a huge, huge aha for me as we go through this. Look here, ladies and gentlemen, 75% of respondents to this survey have actually not read the MREA front to back. Now, we're managing a mega agent office, and we've not actually read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So we've got a lot of room for improvement on this one item. Again, there's no judgment. I mean, 75% of the people that responded to this had never even read it. And so we're all in the same boat. And so, now the time is to actually pick up the book and put together a game plan to purposely get through it and start reading it front to back. Pretty powerful information in there. Now, how about this one? Are you currently using a 411 to actually track your daily business and what you're supposed to be doing on a 411? 52% of respondents said no, right? So we got a lot of opportunity for there. 30% of the respondents said that yes, they were using a 411 on a daily basis, and 16% people said no, and I will not. So there's definitely some room there that we can grow, and we're always looking to get better. Always looking to get better. So what are some things that admin should be held accountable to as we'll go through these? Tracking production, filling the bench and standards, which we're really going to talk about today, kind of the, hiring and being prepared to start to hire and recruit talent. Come on down, having all the data correct in the systems, creating and maintaining systems for the team, training members on those systems, keeping the database accurate, and inventory, bringing referrals to the team, reviews, referrals, budget for their department, client care and organization, referrals, seeing that over and over and over again. I know that on my team, and I always believe in complete transparency, referrals have been a challenge. You got 5, 6, maybe 7, even some of you maybe, a few 10 or 20 people on your team, and they're all sending out referrals. And so how do you track them? Are you following up? Are you following up with your agents to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do? And are you following up with the other agents to ensure that they're actually getting done, that they actually contacted people? And so that was a big one that we worked on this year. And I got to give a shout out to my personal admin, Chelsea, she has actually come in and taken over that role. She's got a book now that she keeps it in. All referrals have to go through her. She's the one that, if she can't find an agent to send that referral to, she contacts me. And so it's been big piece. And then the agent and myself, we're both copied every time there's a referral that goes out or anything that goes out on that referral. So that if a mega agent contacts me, I've actually got an update and I can actually fill that agent in as well. And so it's really, really cool. And it's been amazing to see that. And just since we started doing that over the last couple of months, we've actually seen more of those referrals actually coming back in. Because you got to track the W-9, you got to track all those things and make sure and then follow up. And so it's been pretty powerful having one person responsible for all of that. Let's see here as we continue to go down. Lead follow-up, lead tracking, client communications, keeping track of contract to close. Too many lists. Oh, trust me, we know. And so here's the thing, keeping up with inventory, stocked and organized, scheduling, calendar. Every time today I have a walkthrough. I was supposed to have a walkthrough at 6:30 today, and Chelsea, she went in and she goes, hey, they're not going to be able to make it. The sellers are saying you can't do your walkthrough, so I've talked to the buyers already. She went in and changed it on my calendar, so now it just popped up on my calendar. I accepted it and we're done. So calendars are huge, and make sure you got shareable calendars. Inventory, not sure, reviews, following systems, make sure that they're implemented, marketing material, following processes. So just tons of stuff on here. Now, what are some things that you can actually track on your 411? I love some of these. Y'all are awesome. I mean, y'all have come up with some amazing ideas on here. So goals to implement and revise systems for needing a time efficiency and team productivity. That the Millionaire Real Estate Agent ops manual that I sent out for everybody, that's been attached to an email that I sent. That's got 269 pages, implementing one chapter a month. I take a full month and implement one chapter. And in 1 year, imagine how much more purposeful your business and your megas business will be, right? It's just amazing. So you can just do a little bit. I love this one, time to breathe. Yeah. As admins, a lot of times you have a tendency just to work through lunch. And I'm here to say, don't work through lunch. You need to get up from your seat, get out of the office, get a change, get a change of look. And I understand, if that day, hey, I get to go home early because I work through lunch. You don't do it every time because you really need a change of scenery to kind of get refreshed, to come back in and refocus on that, on the things that you got to get focused on. Improve hiring process. We're going to work on that one today. The number of client reviews, and then broken down from there, because feedback is the breakfast of champions. And so if you're getting reviews and you're seeing things that are on there, you got room to improve. And so what you have to do is now you have to get in there in a situation where you can actually fix things that you need to improve on. Number of closed transactions, tracking inventories, daily goals, not sure, and that's okay. This is why we're going through this and giving you some ideas. Double checking inventory, Google form as accountability piece, systems to develop and overhaul. Hiring a contract to close, annual goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, making more money. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're always here for. And I always couch that anytime we're talking about money. It's never about the money in and of itself. It's always about what the money can do. See, the money, I was coaching Bold this week and had a lady that the money for her was $80,000, and it was an $80,000 King Ranch pickup truck for her. And you could tell that it was going to create a feeling for her husband and for her when she was able to purchase and pay cash for that. So really big key things there on making more money. Hand off the closing to the MCA, calling clients and updating them, providing weekly report to the agent. Because ladies and gentlemen, our clients are texting our agents. And if we've handed it completely off, here's the thing. If we're handing it completely off, and they text the agent doesn't know. So you got to keep the agent informed of what's actually going on as well. Did we bring value on this call? Looks like we had one person that did not receive value, and I take 100% full responsibility for that and do my best to bring more value to the call today for everybody. All right, now we're looking at the biggest aha, using the 411 with the admins, not just for the agents. Cash talks, knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. Let's change this week. I don't have time to hire a virtual assistant. I need a face-to-face on my hours. That's a good one right there. Sometimes you can't hire a virtual assistant, and that's okay. Sometimes you need somebody in the office. Present the 411 in a different approach. A struggle with new team members, putting their emotions into it. Yeah. So see, we're going to go through some of that today and talking about emotions and those items, changing my mindset from being overwhelmed to fascinated. It's amazing how just one simple word will actually change your life. Just changing one simple word that you're using on a daily basis. We need more open house signs. Yes, we all do. We all do. Keeping track of inventory, track of inventory. Need to have a clear job description. You can lead up as well as being led down. And so here's the thing, goals turning into standards. Yes. See, there's a difference between a standard and a goal. A standard, the team still runs and the business can still operate. And as a goal, that's exceeding the standard. All right, open houses, part of the inventory responsibility, sales meeting, team meeting, the difference between golden standards there, that one again, 30 open house signs, 50% more signs than active listings, and do not park talent in a role that they are not intended for. We're really going to talk about that one today at a really high level. Getting crystal clear on your 20%, need better systems, tracking inventory, not sure if I had one. All right, and here's the thing. My goal today is to bring more value on this call. And then to create an inventory list, need a system, look for better inventory tracking. The standard is the floor that you do not fall below, not the ceiling that you shoot for. Take it one step at a time and have a standard operating procedure for everything. For everything. I know I've heard some people actually call this having the hit by a bus. Right? If you got hit by a bus today, and I know that's kind of negative thinking, yet here's the thing. If you got hit by the bus, would somebody be able to step right into your role? See, when you've created your systems to the point where that is, it's not that you're working your way out of a job. What you've actually done is you created job security, because there's going to be more systems that are going to need to be created, and you're the best person to do it when you've got them documented that way. Need to review the budget with the mega, and then also using the 411 and more open house signs. So some great ahas on there, I'm going to see, stop sharing. I'm going to go back to, see, make sure I got this right. Probably not. All right, so work with me on here as I go through, and we're working on sharing the screen. Intent is to get it right for us. Let's see here. Yay, I didn't delete anybody. All right, so now let's come back, and let's actually come back and start working. Can just put in the chat window. Let's see here. There we go. Now I've got the chat window up so I can actually see everybody on here. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to kind of start with where we're moving forward from here. There we go. Now we're working. All right. Awesome. So ladies and gentlemen, now we're on to chapter 6 of managing the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Office. Now, as we go through this, what I'd really like to do is I'd like for you to take some time and think about when you've either hired someone that was the wrong person, or you've actually hired someone, or you were at a company where the wrong person was hired. And that, let's just think for a moment that that person stayed in that role for 1 year. For 1 year. Now, let's just kind of walk through that a little bit. And let's say that person stayed in that role for 1 year and they were the wrong person for that role. And how much did that end up costing the business? And so I'd like for you to just take maybe 30 seconds, think about it, and start posting it. Start posting it in the chat window. How much money that having the wrong person in that role may have cost that business. And as you're thinking about that, it's not just their salary, it's the lost opportunity. See, that's probably the most expensive cost right there, is the lost opportunity. The lost opportunity. Yeah, $2 million a month is what one person has put on here. A salary of $30,000 to $60,000 in lost opportunity. So now you're talking $90,000 on that one. See, ladies and gentlemen, those are real costs. Those are real opportunity costs that people are actually, it's costing your business. It's costing the business that you actually work for that amount of money. Now, what would bonuses look like if you did not lose $2 million a month, or you didn't lose $90 million or $90,000 in a year? What would your bonus look like at that point? Pretty powerful, right? Yeah, it'd look great, that's for sure. So let's talk about this. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have some homework for you where you can actually sit down, and I'll have that graph that's there in your manual on page number, right, I believe it's on page number 71 in your manual. And so I actually have a graph so that you can actually do that worksheet in your homework for this week. And we'll calculate those numbers, and we'll get an idea of what the average, what you believe the average of hiring the wrong person would be, because it's expensive, very expensive. All right, so now let's talk about the next thing. We're on page number 72 in your manual for today. And on page number 72, you got this really cool graph. Looks like it's blown up, got some bombs on it or something like that. And that's the E to P manual. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk about this for a moment. You're operating entrepreneurially, and what that means when you're operating entrepreneurially is that you're operating in a way that your natural ability can reach your limit, okay? So you can operate to a certain level, and we'll just kind of do it like this. We can operate, this is us operating, and this is a ceiling. We can operate entrepreneurially to our natural ceiling. And these ceilings for different people may be at higher levels. Some people it may be down here, some people it may be up here. Yet we all have a natural ceiling of ability, and that's what we call the entrepreneurial level. Now, let's think about this in the terms of a real estate business. So you got an agent, and they've got a natural ability to lead generate. And so what happens is they go out and they lead generate, and they get all this business, and it starts climbing. And then what happens is they get up close to their ceiling. Just before they get to their ceiling, what starts to happen is they reach what we call the chaos point. And as you get closer and you get to that chaos point, what ends up happening as you're reaching close to that chaos point, I mean, it feels like the wheels are falling off of your business. You're like, you got people calling in, they're upset, you may have somebody yelling at you and that kind of thing, and you're reaching that chaos point because you're operating at a natural ability. So what happens is that person that's a good lead generator, they take their foot off the gas and they start to go back down. Now, as they start to go back down, as they get closer and closer down to where they started, they reach what I call the freak out point. And the freak out point is, oh no, how am I going to pay the bills next week? How am I going to pay the mortgage next month? And I will tell you, that roller coaster of up and down, it creates manic children, just so that you know. Because see, when you're on your way up and everything's looking good and you got all these closings coming in and everything's looking good, that mega agent's going to the grocery store and they're walking through the grocery store and their child's sitting there and they reach up and they grab a Barbie doll and throw it in the buggy, or they grab some Hot Wheels and throw it in the buggy, and you're like, oh, that's cute, yeah, let's buy it. And then when you're on your way down and you're going through the grocery store with your child and they reach over and grab that Barbie doll, or they reach out and grab those Hot Wheels and they throw it in the buggy, and you're like, don't put that in there. Put that out. We can't buy it this week. We don't have the money. And the kids are like, well, why not? I bought one last time I was here, Mom. Or I bought one last time I was here, Dad. And so when you look at this, you got to say, hey, you got to be steady. That's operating what we call purposefully. That's the entrepreneurial to purposeful, the E to P. Purposeful is where every single action that you do, from the time that you show up in the morning at the office to the time that you go home, to the way that you actually control your listing presentation. See, I used to be very entrepreneurial with my listing presentation, and my listing presentations were taking me on average 1.5 hours. And see, then when I actually got a listing presentation and actually was working on that listing presentation and doing it to a T, because I use the bold listing presentation now, 45 minutes. I'm 45 minutes in the house, 45 minutes, I'm back out. See, because it's 45 minutes. I know that I can leave that house with paperwork signed in 45 minutes because I've got a purposeful situation. I'm no longer living my life entrepreneurially just by my natural ability. I'm actually following a system. All right, so now we go on and we're going to talk about how much your mindset is actually matters when you're talking about recruiting agents. I see this chapter, or recruiting admins also, recruiting future admin or recruiting agents to your team or any staff members, anything that you're looking at bringing onto your team. And your mindset matters because it really breaks down how you're doing it. I mean, I just hung up on my coaching call about 30 minutes ago, and I realized how much my mindset is actually affecting on my team as well. And so when we're talking about mindset, what we're really talking about is we're talking about limiting beliefs. So limiting beliefs, they lead us to making costly mistakes. See, on my own coaching call today, my coach looked at me and he said, J. Michael, if you're looking to go from above average to looking to go to absolutely great, what you've got to eliminate from your life is the fear of failure. See, you got to eliminate the fear of failure, the fear that what you're going to do is going to hurt you. And you got to go out there and you got to run at a higher level. And see, some of our limiting beliefs would cause us to make some costly mistakes. And so sometimes we think that someone is better than no one. We got somebody at least filling that role. And ladies and gentlemen, on the opportunity cost, we know that that is not the case. Sometimes we say, well, there's no talent in this market. I hear that one a lot. So what you're telling me is that the person that's running the number one company in your area, and I'm not even talking about real estate, the person that's running the number one company in your area is not talent. because you're saying there's no talent in this area. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that there's always talent out there. You just do not have your reticular activator, that part inside of your brain that filters everything out. You don't have that reticular activator to truly know what talent looks like. And because you don't truly know what talent looks like, you're not able to find it. See, you got to know what talent looks like. Another thing you may say in a limiting belief situation is that it takes too much time. I got to find someone, I got to hire someone. And then on top of that, now I got to hand this off to them and teach them how to do it. See, unlimited thinking is actually the opposite. If I invest a little bit of time now, if I invest some time now and I invest some energy now, later on, I'm not going to have that to invest that time and energy later on. And so it's almost a slow down to speed up. We got to slow down sometimes to speed up. My world will never change or will change forever once I make the right hire. Ladies and gentlemen, as a bowl coach, I am on the road, literally on the road. I leave either Sunday morning or I leave on Monday morning, and I come home on Wednesday night. Last night, I got home at 2 a.m. And so when I get home at 2 a.m., I am not coming into the office at 8:30 on Thursday morning. So I got into the office today around 12:30. And so when I got into the office today at 12:30, so I've got a half a day today and I got a full day in the office tomorrow. So in a day and a half, because I've invested time up front and taken some time and energy to train people, now what I do is I've got more time and energy on the back end to do other opportunities. So how do you recruit, hire, train, and reward the right way? This is a fill-in your handout there. And so how do you do that? I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that you follow a model. You're following a system that's going to work for you. See, you got to follow a system that works for you. And I'm here to tell you that we have that system at Keller Williams Realty. It's called career visioning. Career visioning is the part where it helps you find talent. And then you have 30, 60, 90, and that's the way that you help train and motivate talent. That's the way that you help train and motivate talent. Now, let's talk about talent. What is talent? Talent versus non-talent. If you'll turn to page number 74 in your handout for today, on page number 74 in your handout, y'all are quiet today. All the other 2 weeks, y'all have been chatting in the chat window and everything. So, if you need to chat, feel free, go ahead and jump in there. So here's the thing, talent versus non-talent on page number 74. Talent pushes to get answers. Talent pushes to get answers. Non-talent has to be pushed to want answers. Talent shares your goals and fulfills your needs as a natural byproduct of fulfilling their own. Think about that for a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, you as an admin, your executive assistants or assistant executives, in some cases already, you've already worked your way from an executive assistant to assistant executive. And so as you're working your way up that and becoming an executive assistant, what you're doing is that you're receiving your goals, you're receiving and fulfilling your dreams and your needs by helping someone else fulfill theirs. And see, it's a symbiotic relationship that the two of you are working together. The farther you help the mega agent get, the farther that you get to go, and they're leading the way. The talent knows what it wants or is actively searching to know. See, how often are you looking out? And so I applaud everybody that's on these calls, that are listening to these calls and going back and listening and doing the homework, because what we're finding is out of all of that, what we're finding is how powerful this is, that you're actually looking to know more and looking for how to succeed at a higher level. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're looking for talent, you're looking for people that are always looking to get better. When you're interviewing somebody and they say, well, you ask them a question, when was the last time that you took a class to better yourself? And they go, well, I took a class in college. And you've got 10 years worth of work history right now, and you've never taken another class to better yourself? That may be a red flag for you. You're always looking to get better, always looking to get better. Even if there's not a way, you're looking out there, you're learning classes, you're always attending classes, you're always looking for ways that you can get better. It's a powerful, powerful thought right there. All right. Talent pushes you constantly. You know, that person that's constantly going, hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do this? Don't look at them as, oh, they're nagging me again. See, that's talent. That's talent looking to grow at a higher level. Give them a project and let them run with it and see where they go with it and see how much income they can create in the team, kind of thing. Talent is constantly raising the bar. Talent wants to be associated with talent. Yeah, eagles don't fly with chickens. So, you know, you put a chicken with an eagle, or you put an eagle with a chicken, guess what's going to happen? The eagle is going to fly away because it does not like to be on the ground. And so you got to put eagles with eagles. Put eagles with eagles. All right. Next thing is talent is usually focused on their talk, on the language of challenge and achievement. You have people that are always walking around talking about, oh, I got this problem, or I got this, I got that. Talent does not speak that way. Talent is focused on the plan, not the problem. The eagle will eat the chicken. Yes, it will. Yes, they will eat that chicken. Love that. All right, so let's keep on coming down. Question. I got a question for you. So in a question here, is all talent good? And you can put it in chat window there. Is all talent good? And just type it in the chat window. Did I lose everybody? See, because how you participate in here is how you'll participate everywhere. Here we go. It can be good. It just may not be the right fit. Yes, if it's the right position. So let me ask you a question. Could talent be better? It's talent. Yet could talent be better? Yes, talent can always be better. See, here's what I'd like for you to think about. I'd like for you to think that there's talent. There's 2 types of talent. Look at that. That's 4. 2 types of talent. All right. My South Carolina education coming back, counting, 4 for 2. So there's 2 types of talent. One is cul-de-sac talent. Now, cul-de-sac talent, what is cul-de-sac talent? Well, cul-de-sac talent, they do the current job that they're doing it really, really well. Yet cul-de-sac talent has no desire to take on more role, has no desire to take on more task. They have no desire to grow, yet they do the role that they're currently in at an amazingly high level. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we call cul-de-sac talent. Now, the other kind of talent is capacity talent. See, capacity talent not only does the role that they're in right now at a really, really high level, yet what they actually do is they actually are looking for more roles to take on. They're looking for new opportunities. They're always looking to grow. They have the ability to grow. Now watch this. Sometimes you can have cul-de-sac talent that's speaking that they're capacity talent. They're always asking for more. They're always asking for more. Yet when you give them more, they're not able to handle it. And see, that's a cul-de-sac talent that has a desire to be capacity talent, yet their actions. So their audio, what's coming out of their mouth, is not matching their video of what they're actually doing. And actions always speak louder. That's exactly right. Actions always speak louder. So now I'm going to couch this statement when I say it, because I know this is a statement that I've seen hundreds of times on Facebook over the years. It's a question that a lot of times megats ask. And so I've got to be very, very careful how I say this. Let's talk about how many files a transaction coordinator may be able to maintain at one time. So if a transaction coordinator is handling your after closing actions, so if they're handling the after closing part, then they can handle about 20. They can actually handle about 20 open files if they're handling post-closing. If they are not handling post-closing, let's say another staff member is handling the post-closing, then at that point, they may be able to handle about 30. Now, the couch of this statement, how I'm going to couch this statement, is that it depends. When we're talking 20 and 30, that means, that is, yes, post-contract is exactly what I mean. And so when we're talking 20 and 30 files, that is if you are following the MREA contract to close from the operations manual. See, if you're having them do other stuff on top of that, or if you've got them doing other roles or other job descriptions in there on top of what's in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Operations Manual, then those numbers may come down. It may also come down based on your contract. See, we didn't have due diligence 2 years ago in South Carolina. Now we have due diligence, which has added another level into our contracts. And so that can affect it. That can affect it. Okay, so you have to be very, very careful when you ask on Facebook. When you ask on Facebook how many files, because you don't know how many pages that person's contract is, how many contingencies that they have. Are they negotiating repairs or are they not negotiating repairs? Is the agent negotiating repairs? So you have to be very, very careful. And when I'm saying these two numbers, what I'm saying is that you are truly following the Millionaire Real Estate Agent model from the contract to close of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Ops Manual. See, because you have to be very, very careful to make sure that you're doing that. Now, so now that I've got that couch statement out, let's talk about job profiles. So where can you actually get job profiles? See, every role for a Millionaire Real Estate Agent, you can go to KW Connect, and in the career visioning section, you can actually find the job profiles. They're in there. They're already in there. Your transaction coordinator, your executive assistant, your ISA, all of those job profiles are in there. Now you have to go through there, and you may have a couple of items in there, or a couple of items to take off, or a couple of items to add, yet at least it gives you a good base, a backbone of how to start. Now, talking about career visioning. In career visioning, when you're preparing to recruit for new agents, here's what you're going to do. Here's what you're going to do. You got to know the difference between personality and behavior. And they are two different things, ladies and gentlemen. You can have a personality and then you have behavior. See, we all know that those people, and I'll actually send you a link through KW Connect for everybody so that you can actually get to those job profiles when I send out the homework this week. I'll send them out to everybody so you got them. So when you're looking at personality, most people that know me, they say, you know, hey, he's got a great personality. He's out there. He loves to connect with people. You put me in a room with people where there's a bunch of people that I don't know and I'm not the instructor. Guess what? I've kind of become a wallflower. It's a challenge for me. And so because it's a challenge for me, my behavior is different than my personality. And so there are two different pieces there. Your behavior is different than your personality. And so we used to use a product called DISC, and now we use a KPA. And KPA actually measures several things on there. And so we're going to talk about, and we're going to focus on behavior. We're going to focus on behavior today. So we're on page number 79. And when we're talking about on page number 79, we're talking about behaviors. So what are behaviors? Behaviors are the way someone acts. These are some fill-ins on there, right? Behavior is the way that someone acts. Observable habits and beliefs. Behavior is an observable habit. That's the key word. So you can have a personality be different than what your actual habit is. All right? And your beliefs at the deepest core. Your beliefs at the deepest core. Behavior is neither good nor bad. Behavior just is. Think about that for a moment. It's not good or bad. It just is. The same behavior that causes someone to be a mega agent could be the same behavior that causes someone to become rob a convenience store, right? It's not that the behavior is good or bad. It's what you do with that behavior. It's what you do with that behavior. Some people have more flexible behavior. So in some people, your behavior can be more flexible. And it can be less flexible in others. It can be less flexible in others. So let me give you, and these are some fill-ins there on your sheet. Behaviors. What is behavior? What is not behavior, I think, is probably a better question. Behavior is not intelligence. How much intelligence you have has nothing to do with your behavior. All right. Behavior is not your value system. It's not how you value things. What are your core principles, right? It's not your skills and it's not your experience. Behavior is not skill or experience. Behavior is not your motivation. How you motivate you is not your behavior. And last one here, give you, is behavior is not ethics. Not the same thing. Not the same thing. So turn to page number 80 in your handout for today. And it says, is behavior likely to change? Probably not after a certain age. And if you are able to change your true behavior, it's going to create you some stress. It's going to create you some sin. So changing, and this is powerful for those of you that are leading teams, you know, that as maybe a director of operations or an assistant executive or an executive assistant. This one's powerful for you. You got to realize this. Changing someone's behavior or changing your behavior is considered a hostile act. Ooh, that's pretty rough. And I know it's rough, yet here's the thing. It's rough because it's true. When you hire someone and you think that their behavior is going to change because you hired them and you're going to help change them, ladies and gentlemen, that's a hostile act towards that person. Think about other relationships you have where you truly intend to change someone's behavior. It becomes a hostile act when you truly are looking to change someone else's behavior. Think about that in your relationships at home, in your kids, those kind of things. All right. Now, most people have some flexibility to control how they respond in different situations. See, this is why when we're going through and we're interviewing people, we always get that person's best self because they're able to change their behavior a little bit and answer questions in an interview setting. And so that's why we actually do a KPA on people, because a KPA is the easiest way to have an objective look at their actual behavior. That's what a KPA does. That's what a KPA does. Now, it can provide some short-term conflict. When you're changing somebody's behavior, you'll find that it'll change have some short-term conflict on there. Now, long-term, you can compensate. You can start to compensate for your behavior, yet you decide. Here's the key, right? It really does cause you some stress. Over time, you may be flexible enough to change it on the short period, yet if you're constantly forced to change your behavior or flex your behavior, what's going to happen is it's going to cause you some massive amount of stress. Now, what are some signs of behavioral discomfort? And you may be, as we go through this list, and I give you this list to write down, you may actually start looking at the people on your team and saying, where am I seeing these signs of behavioral mismatch? Okay. Number one sign for a behavioral mismatch, stress. Right? And you all started laughing, I'm sure, because we're in the real estate business, right? Yeah. I love that. Yes, because they do start to snap when they're under stress, right? That also will lead them to burnout. Well, what's burnout? How can you determine burnout? Snapping, showing up late, leaving early, that can create burnout, right? Not meeting goals, that's a sign of burnout. Sign of challenges at home, that's a sign of burnout. You know, we have in the Greenville area, we have a lot of engineers because we have a BMW here, we have GE here, General Electric here, we have their gas turbines, and we also have their wind turbines. We have Michelin headquarters, North American headquarters here. And so we have a lot of engineers per capita in the Greenville area. And because we have a lot of engineers in this per capita, you can actually see when you actually go into an engineer's home and they're working at work as an engineer, and you come home and you go into their closet and it's just completely disheveled, you realize that you've got an engineer that's not operating in their actual behavioral style. Or think about this, an accountant. You go into an accountant, and some of you may even know an accountant that their personal finances are in complete distress because they're spending all their energy focused on changing their behavior to control someone else's finances. And then at that point, when they get home, they're like, oh, I got no energy to actually work on my own personal finances. It's because it's not their natural behavioral style. Depression. Now, you have to be very careful with this one on your team, because what happens is depression will actually cause cortisol in your brain. It'll cause your body, you'll send an electrical piece in your brain to say, drip cortisol chemical through your body. Now, if you're sitting beside someone that's depressed and they've got a cortisol and you're sitting beside them, your body will actually pick up on the fact that they're depressed, and your body will start to drip cortisol as well, because your body desires to empathize with that person that's in a depressed state. And then guess what happens? The person sitting beside you, same thing. Person sitting beside that person, same thing. And now you end up with a completely depressed team. You have to be very, very careful with these. Anxiety is another one. Frustrations, right? Instead of saying frustrated, they're fascinated. If you got a lot of people with a lot of fascination, then it could be a behavioral mismatch. All right. Fatigue is another one. How do you know fatigue on a team? Well, you got somebody with their elbow on their desk and they're sitting like this, right? Fatigue. Short temper. You got somebody that snaps back too quick. They got a short temper. That's a sign of a behavioral mismatch. Insecurity. Ooh, that's another one. Insecurity can be a big one. Fear. They're scared to do anything. They're just scared to do anything. They'll withdraw. They'll come in, they'll walk straight to their desk, and they never even speak to you. They just walk straight into the desk, got their head down, and start working, right? They withdraw. How about somebody that you got that's got physical illnesses over and over and over and over and over again, because your body has been dripping cortisol to empathize with that person, and now they're getting sick from all the cortisol levels in their body. They may even have some weight gain, those kind of things from that cortisol, because they're not in a behavioral match for that piece. See, what you're actually looking for is you're looking for somebody that has a high level of emotional intelligence. See, high level emotional intelligence will allow somebody to adapt, and they're a little bit more flexible when you've got somebody that's got a high emotional intelligence. So let me give you 3 things that I always look for when I'm hiring somebody. And this actually came from Matt Patowski. That's actually the CEO that's running Tim Heil's team in Austin, Texas. Matt Patowski did a webinar call, and on that call, what he said is he was looking for 3 things. He was looking for someone that was hungry, and I'd write these down. You're always looking for someone that's hungry. And let me give you a definition of hungry. That doesn't mean that they need something to eat. What it means is that they're hungry because they've got something to prove to the world. Right? Gary Keller explains it as they've got a chip on their shoulder. They got something to prove to someone. Who do you have somebody to prove something to? Right? Number two is that they're hungry. I'm sorry. Number 2 is that they're humble. Apologize. You had number 1 there. Number 2 is that they're humble. Now, what do we mean by humble? Because we have to be very careful, because humble can sometimes be mistaken for insecure. See, humble is that you've got confidence without the ego. You can have confidence and not have ego, because you do not desire to have ego. What you truly desire to have is confident people. And so you're looking for someone that's confident without the ego, and that's what we mean by humble. Now, the last one here that I always say is intelligent, and this comes straight from Matt Patowski. You're looking for someone that is intelligent. And when we say intelligent, we're looking for somebody that's emotional intelligent. See, by emotional intelligence, that means that we could drop them into a conversation, drop them into a situation, and when we drop them into that, they can assess the situation, and they can figure out how to handle it. That's when you've got that person that calls in and they are so upset because it's been 30 minutes after the closing and the lockbox is still on the door, right? 30 minutes after the closing and the lockbox is still on the door and they are upset. That emotional intelligent person would be able to diffuse that situation, read that person, and figure out how to move forward. We talked about that handling conflict in a previous 2 weeks ago. And so that's a big, big key for you. All right. So you're looking for those three things. We're looking for somebody that's hungry, humble, and intelligent. And I gave you the definition for all three of those. Now, what is most important when you're looking to hire people? What is the most important thing that when you're looking to hire people? Number one, I would say would be experience or track record. Because see, we know that behavior doesn't change. And as this person that you're hiring, do they have a track record of winning, a habit of winning? Do they know what winning looks like? Right? Do they know the effort that it takes to make winners? You go, well, this person, they don't have any job history yet. They're straight out of high school or they're straight out of college. So what did they do in college to win? What did they do in high school to win? What sports did they play? Were they a winner in high school? See, if they were a baseball player, did they have the highest home run average? Did they get voted most valuable player? Do they have a habit of winning? Do they know what it takes to win? And so you're looking for those winners. Education. What kind of education do people have, right? And I think when we're looking at education, it's not the education that somebody may have. What we're actually looking for is we're looking for their capacity to learn. Do they have the capacity to actually learn, right? Because some people are closed-minded. They don't have the capacity to learn any different. I'm as good as I'm going to get from this day forward at 20 years old. So you have to be careful on that one as well. All right, behavior. That's what we're going to find from the KPA. The KPA, we're going to really get to dive down and have an objectable look at their actual behavior without our limiting beliefs being put on them or our need being put on them. All right. We're also going to look at accomplishments. What are their accomplishments? You know, when you look back through their job history, when you look back through what are their actual accomplishments? What did they achieve? How did they move the company that they work for forward? Or were they just someone that showed up, work, and at 3 o'clock were putting the tennis shoes on because they were ready to run out the door, right? Another one that you're looking for, again, we talked about it, was emotional intelligence. I'm not going to go through that one again. Yeah, emotional intelligence is another big one that we're looking for, all right? Skills. Some of you are hiring people that need Adobe or need, let's say Lightroom or any type of special skills, maybe Adobe software and knowing it at the Creative Cloud and knowing all the different suites. Some of you are hiring people that need that and you're not even testing to see if they have that ability, right? Have them create you a flyer, because if you have them do it at home and send it to you, guess what they may have done? They may have actually gone to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, put it in and said, well, here it is. Here's what, and they paid $5 for it. You're thinking they're awesome. And they're going home and creating this stuff on Fiverr and then paying $5 for it on Fiverr. And you're paying them an actual salary. So make sure that they've actually got the skills that they say that they've got. You're also looking for attitude. That's that attitude of winning, that attitude of focusing on the plan and not the problem. Do they have a mindset, an attitude of always exceeding? Do they have an attitude of always exceeding? And then lastly, when we're checking, what's most important, we're always checking references. You can only hide from your references so long, right? When you call people and you say, would you hire this person again? And there's a hesitation in their voice, ooh, or they hesitate. You might have to watch. You might have to watch that. Now, I'm going to cover this last little piece here. Looks like we got someone that has started sharing their screen. So let's see here. There we go. Okay. I think I got that. Got somebody that's sharing their screen. There you go. All right. Okay. So when we're looking at this and we're talking about that, and we're almost down to the last piece here, is the role of the DISC personality profile. Now, I know we're not using the DISC personality profile any longer, and we're using the KPA. Yet I think that, as you're moving forward and as you're going forward, if you've got DISC personality, we all talk about, we've always talked about the high Ds, the high S's, the high C's, the high I's. Those are not things that you can use to wield over people and just be mean to people. Go, I'm just a high D. I'm just going to drive over it. you got to realize that you take those personality assessments, because that's a personality assessment. A DISC is a personality assessment, not a behavioral assessment. And so when you're taking the DISC is for you to look at your own personality. The DISC is to look at your own personality and make sure that you're not running over people, making sure that you're communicating with people in the right way that you need to be communicating with them. So what I'd like to do is, we've got a couple of minutes here left to see, we've got about 6 minutes. So what I'd like to do is, I'd actually like to have, if anybody has any questions, I would like the ability to answer any questions that somebody may have. Okay, so how does talent get recognized? Sometimes talent may be stifled or up against a wall. Should they quit or just move on? Well, a lot of times, if you got true talent, they shouldn't quit and they shouldn't move on. What you actually got to do is, you actually got to come up with a higher opportunity for them. So you got to come up with a higher opportunity for them. Somebody asked, what does what counts as post closing? So anything after post closing, picking up the lockbox, picking up the sign, following up with them after, the week after so we follow up with them the day after the closing, 3 days after the closing, 10 days after the closing, 30 days after the closing. If you're handling any of that follow up after the closing, then that would be considered post closing. So we consider picking up lot boxes, those kind of things, even customer satisfaction surveys, those items. If you're mega resist change, improving the business, how do you speak to them to come to a place of mutual understanding about the vision? So let me ask you a question. Do you have a true picture of your vision, and does the mega have a true picture of your vision? And are the two of those together? So you got to be in alignment. The people that you're bringing on your team, the people that you're building on your business, they've got to be in alignment. And so what I would do in that situation is, I would go to the mega when I'm doing my time with the mega agent every week, or even on a daily basis, more of the time on a weekly basis, so that you really get to dive into it. And I would ask him, I'd say, so let me ask you a question. What's our 5-year organizational chart? What's our 5-year organizational chart that we're going to use? What are we shooting for? What are we growing for? What is the ultimate goal that we're shooting for here? And getting them to really think about that organizational chart. Where they see their business in 5 years. Because a lot of times, as a mega agent, and myself included, we have a tendency to put our head down and focus only on the present. And as a leader, sometimes we forget that we've got this whole vision that we're shooting for. Now, sometimes it's the opposite. We're focused so much on out here that we never get the opportunity to focus right here. And so you got to really be thinking about, what is the 5-year plan, and really keep that mega agent focused on the 5-year plan, because they may just be putting their head down. The other question I would ask is, there something going on in the mega's life that maybe you can help with, that's causing some of this stress, frustration, those kind of things, because they may not be in they may not have the behavior that they need for the role that they're in. See, think about that one. Think about that one, is that your mega agent may not have the behavioral profile for the mega agent they're in. And they are allowed, as the mega agent, they're allowed to bend themselves, to be flexible. Yet they should not hire anyone. They should not hire anyone to ask them to change their behavior, because then they're doing a hostile act. You can do a hostile act on yourself, changing. See, we used to have this thing called an AVA within Keller Williams Realty, and it was a behavioral assessment. And mine was a 2, 4, 5, 9, right? Which is more of an IT kind of guy versus an actual mega agent. I knew that I had limitations, and so I had to build things into my business and build things into my life that would help me overcome those challenges. And so you may have a mega that you've got to help them build in some things to keep themselves protected from the parts that they don't do very well. And that may be what's actually going on, instead of them not actually having a vision. It may just be some fascination and some items there because they do not have the behavioral profile that they need. And that's okay. You just got to be the one that's going to help them put pieces in place to protect them and protect their lifestyle. So what if the mega doesn't have a 5-year goal, just focused on the here and now? How can we support them with focus to help them make out that vision? So ask them dreams. And I think this is a big key here, is that you've got to realize, what are their dreams? What are they actually working for? What gets them up in the morning? And then you got to figure out what the gap is. Now I know this is some high level coaching and some high level coaching up. And so you gotta ask them, say, what do you truly desire in that 5 years? Where are you at now? And how are we going to fill this gap? And don't do it. So you have to be very careful when you ask questions, because in Bold, we talk about embedded commands and downswings, clean your room. And yet when we're asking questions are upswings. And sometimes when we ask questions and we upswing with our questions, we actually come in and it's a judgmental tone because of that upswing. Are you serious? Is the same thing as, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is this, and asking questions. So don't say questions in a judgmental tone with that upswing when you're actually carrying on this conversation. When you're leading up, you have to be very, very careful not to be judgmental in that tone when you're doing this, and laying out and helping your mega figure out a gap so that they've got some ability to go in there. Last week when we did this, I was actually in Washington, D.C. with my son. And if they've got children, you never know what's going to happen. And so sometimes that gap may be that, what if something happened? Are you protected? Do you have enough income in the bank to run the team, fund me, and also fund anything that may happen in your personal life? And so that may be the gap where you start working on the gap and start helping them, right? Because it could just be a behavioral mismatch for them. And so you've got to be the person that's going to help them get to that next level. I think in Bold, we actually talk about, Diana said, I enjoy selling 350 homes a year. And so when they think about it and selling 350 homes in a year, that may just completely not be enjoyable at all. And so we got to make it enjoyable for them, because they're funding it and they're the one paying for us. And so we got to make it enjoyable for them. So great questions. How many interviews or meetings do you recommend when you're looking for someone to hire? All right, I'm not going to answer that question. And here's why. Because that's a question that's handled in career visioning, and everybody that's planning on hiring anyone needs to get themselves into career visioning. Go through the class, and really learn it at a high level. And just like Gary Keller says with Bold, I believe you need to get bold, and I believe you need to get bold 10 times. Career visioning is the same way, because he says the first time you take it, think of yourself as you're in the first or second grade. And after you've taken it 10 times, well, you've graduated high school, and then you've gone on and graduated college. Career visioning is the exact same way. Gary requires the people that are in his mastermind to take career visioning and 30, 60, 90 to a minimum of 2 times a year to stay in his mastermind group. Okay. What other questions we have? Anybody else got any other questions on here? I know we've gone a little over. I truly desire to make sure we get these questions answered so that we're really bringing that value for you today. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm honored to be able to bring this material to you, bring it to you at a high level. I'll actually be sending out the homework. It will be tomorrow. Just to be honest with you, it's going to be tomorrow before I get the homework out for you, and also get any of the updates. And I'll send those. I'll actually send all the job profiles for you as well, so that you'll have those ready to go and at your. Does the admin participate in career visioning? If they are hiring people, yes. And the admin, the executive assistant that's working to be an assistant executive, they need to learn how to hire. So yes, I would say that the admin needs to participate in career visioning. All right. Let's see, what else? Yes, yeah, very helpful. Take ownership of the team. We talked about that. You got to take ownership of your role, right? Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor. Go out there, crush it this week. Make sure you get your homework done when I get that out for you tomorrow evening. Go out there, have a wonderful day, and be bold.